is Tennessee better off playing a soft schedule like Indiana did or a difficult schedule to get ready for the playoffs, Caleb?
Oh, I think they're better off playing a soft schedule. And I think with the SEC doing a 2-6 or 3-6 format, depending on whether or not they play 8 or 9 games going forward, Tennessee should fight like hell to get the easiest schedule possible. Forget the rivalries. Just try to get the 3 easiest or 2 easiest teams you can possibly play in the conference. And that is the most important thing.
Okay, how can they do that? Four Downs brought to you by Ted Russell Ford Lincoln on Parkside Drive and Kingston Pike.
Cooper Mays here. Hit like and subscribe.
Thanks, Coop. Let's go ahead and start with this.
Coop here. First down.
First down. In order to make the college football playoff an annual event, Tennessee should make Vanderbilt and Kentucky permanent opponents. South Carolina would go to number 3. Caleb, I'm kind of fond of that, but I know what you're going to dive into maybe later if you want to now, and that would be Alabama not on the annual schedule, which would be a shame in my opinion.
Bye, Tennessee-Alabama series. I didn't ruin tradition. The expanded playoff and the mega conferences did. And like I said yesterday, the most important thing is getting the easiest path to the playoff. The playoff is all that matters because college football made this sport all about the playoff. So you should make the sport all about the playoff. And if you're only going to play 2 permanent rivals, it should be Vanderbilt and Kentucky. And if you're going to play 3, it should be South Carolina. You should lobby really hard and say, South Carolina only has Georgia as a natural rival in the SEC. You should make Tennessee one of those other rivals because South Carolina is not going anywhere. So and by the way, South Carolina is a recruiting advantage. You get to go into South Carolina every other year.
That is true.
Cooper Mays here. Second down.
Make the schedule as easy as possible in non-conference. That would mean more Chattanoogas, more Kent States. I can't go with you there. I think you deserve something. I'm fine with the Syracuse level. Syracuse probably isn't going to upset Tennessee, but I wouldn't go any lower than that.
Okay. Here's how I'm going in. I'm saying do the Indiana model last year where they played 3 group of 5 schools. If you go to 9 conference games, don't play any Power 5 schools non-conference. None. 0. Now, if
they move to 9, I'm okay with that.
Yes. Now, if you play 8 conference games, you're required to play a Power 5 opponent. The SEC requires you to. Find the easiest Power 5 school possible and play them every year. Find Wake Forest, okay? Get Wake Forest at home every single year. And here's the other part. Refuse to play any non-conference game, Dave, away from home. Okay, play 4 home non-conference games, 8 home games on the year.
Okay, my question for you, is this even possible given how difficult the SEC is? I mean, you're still going to have a mandatory 8 permanent opponents. So I'll ask Caleb that. The show represented by Banks & Jones, Tennessee's trial attorney, banksandjones.com, as we broadcast from the Ted Russell Ford Lincoln Studios. 30 seconds. Tell you why Tennessee can still go undefeated.
Like a blast from the past, the Super Dealer is back. Look to the skies, Knoxville. The Super Dealer is fighting for price, service, and the American-made. Ted Russell Ford is East Tennessee's #1 volume Ford dealer. Save up to $4,350 on a new Ford F-150 XLT, or get into a new Ford Ranger XLT with no payments for 90 days. Come see the Super Dealer today at either Ted Russell Ford location, Parkside Drive, or Kingston Pike.
Tennessee center Cooper Mays here. Third down.
All right, third down is this. Which SEC teams have the closest to an Indiana schedule? You say Missouri?
Well, no. That's fourth down. The third down is this even possible? Or did you flip those around? Sorry, I was confused.
Go ahead.
Is that the one? Is
well, no, let's go. Okay.
Tennessee center Cooper Mays here. Third down.
Is it even possible to do what you're saying to do, given how difficult the SEC is?
Not really. And it's not because you can get lucky because Indiana got lucky last year in the sense that they only played 1 power team in the Big Ten. You can get lucky and play when they're one power playoff caliber team in the SEC. The problem is, Dave, and we've talked about this for a while, if you play Indiana played the 8 worst teams in the Big Ten. As you know, the 8 worst teams in the 18-team Big Ten is basically their group of 5 caliber teams, right? They're bad football teams. If you were to play the 8 worst teams or 7 worst teams in the SEC, at least 5 of them would be competing for a top 25 spot at the end of the year.
Yeah, you're still going to be pretty sore after the game is the way I look at it, even Vanderbilt.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's the thing. There's Vanderbilt. Let's take the worst team in the SEC last year, which was probably Kentucky. There were about 7 Kentuckys in the Big Ten. there's usually just one or two in any given year in the SEC that's that bad. And so even if you do have a format where you only play one of the power teams, you play a bunch of, and I've always talked about this, one of the flaws in schedule strength, Dave, to me, with the committee only looks at quality wins. I think the underrated part is they don't take into account the grind of just week in and week out playing maybe not great teams, but above average teams and no bad teams. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I've thought about that, but I don't know how you could do it. I actually have contemplated that on a Saturday afternoon. How, if you have Tennessee face, I'm just going to throw something out there. Like you have a SEC team face Mississippi State.
That was the worst team in the SEC. I should have said Mississippi State. Sorry.
Hold on. Mississippi State, South Carolina, Missouri, Texas A&M. Those aren't four great teams, but they're going to be physical teams, right?
Yeah.
And you have that gauntlet of running through them. I actually thought about that last year sitting on my couch watching football.
And in any given year, one of those teams will be bad on the level of the 8 bad teams Indiana played in the Big Ten, but only one. The other 3 will be good.
Yeah, but even bad is guys are playing physical to try to get to the NFL.
That is true. You're right. Yeah.
I mean, it's not like playing at Chattanooga where the guy across from you is 40 pounds lighter.
No.
I mean, that's the big difference. I mean, the guy across from you is a pretty talented guy in the whenever you're playing in the SEC, even with Vanderbilt nowadays. But it's not like you're just playing a non-conference opponent. That to me is a different level of bad most of the time.
Totally agree. So I think we're both in agreement that it's not really possible to get an Indiana style schedule in the SEC, is it? No matter how hard you want to make it, or no matter how hard you want to try.
Unless the SEC gets top heavy, which could happen given the disbursement of money in the coming years. I hope it doesn't happen. I'm still fine with having a upper tier SEC and not, but it could happen, but it's not going to happen in 2025.
All SEC center Cooper Mays here. 4th down.
Which SEC teams have the closest to an Indiana schedule this year?
I did as much research as I could on this, and
is the answer nobody?
The answer is one team, and that team is Missouri. And I'm just going to run down Missouri's schedule for you real quick, Dave. Let me just give you their non-conference schedule. You ready for their non-conference schedule?
All right, take your time. We'll smoke a cigarette.
Central Arkansas, Kansas, Louisiana, and UMass all at home. Yeah. Their regular schedule, they get South Carolina, Auburn, Vanderbilt, Texas A&M, Mississippi State, Oklahoma, Arkansas. The only team that is a serious contender for the playoff on paper going into this year that they play is Alabama. That is, and by the way, that's still tougher than Indiana's schedule last year, but that's about as close to Indiana's schedule as you could get in the SEC.